Frank Abbruzzino with the Scoop News. Healthcare cost. Are you being impacted by it? I know I am. I've said it many times. I'm one of the lucky ones. My insurance is just over $500 a month for 4 people. But that's because I was grandfathered in. If I wasn't and didn't have my rate 2 years prior to Obamacare being enacted, my rates would be over $1,000 as I've checked on it. But I'm still being impacted, as many of us are. But I'm one of the fortunate ones. My impact is on my deductibles. I used to have a $500 deductible pre-Obamacare. Now it's $10,000. Now the simplest operation, I'm asking, what's the CPT? What's the bill? What are you billing me on? When someone hands me a free DME, a back brace or something, it's not free. They're handing it to you and charging you. As many of you know, I'm in the medical industry. This one clinic I used to have, we would buy TENS units for $20, turn around and sell them for $1,100. I don't think he was using the right CPT. That's what he wanted to do. Normally, the CPT used with Medicare 200% fee is about, $130. Not bad profit, right? So, my gist of this one, though, is just the cost and how there's more and more people that are uninsured due to the changes in Obamacare. We all know about the changes that went into place, and I'll cover that in a second, but basically, these numbers are pretty startling. The uninsured in the United States between the ages of 19 and 64 has climbed to 15.5% in 2018. You compare that to 2 years ago, it was at 12.7. Now, a lot of people blame different things. The statistics are even more alarming, though, and this is all from CBS, a study they did. Basically, you know about that one, they said that number equates to 4 million individuals that lost individual coverage during that 2-year period. Also, they note that the number of employer-sponsored coverage stayed steady. So the ones being impacted are the ones that don't have those jobs offering that health insurance. And even when you get that offer of health insurance, when I was an executive, if you will, with GTE Altel, managing their Jacksonville market, you had coverage, but you paid for it. Now, some of the biggest contributors to this, rising uninsured rates. Some people say it's the coverage gap, which leaves a lot of the poor Americans in many states unable to afford the health insurance. And this emerged in about 2012, when the Supreme Court ruled that Obamacare's mandates that forced states to expand their Medicaid was essentially unconstitutional. And that led to a significant increase in the uninsured rates. I remember my sister came to work for me. She wasn't eligible for Obamacare because she made too much. She wasn't eligible for Medicaid because she wasn't eligible for Obamacare because she didn't make enough or something like that, and Medicaid because she made too much. So she felt she had 4 kids, single mother, had no coverage. And that's that coverage gap. So the states, they mandated that all the states had to have Medicaid coverage, and basically including increasing qualification income. And they assumed with Obamacare that it would be covered when individual states expanded that Medicaid coverage. However, the Supreme Court came in 2012, I think it was, requiring states to expand their Medicaid was unconstitutional, and it couldn't be done. And that led to a significant increase in the uninsured rates. The repeal of the individual mandate, which required people to buy insurance, which Trump just pushed through. Basically, they said it was a tax and you could enforce it, saying either, basically unconstitutionally forcing us to buy insurance, and they got around it calling it a tax. All right, so that's gone away. Now they predict, based upon their analysis, that as many as a few million, I forget what the exact number is, but about 5% of the people out there will drop their coverage. And the forecast by the CBO is that 13 million people will lose coverage if that mandate is lost. And it's a trend that can't continue. Obamacare was already, I know a lot of people don't like to believe it, but I'm in the industry. A lot of insurance companies were pulling out of it. It wasn't sustainable. We had Freddie Mac. Money was being pulled out of Freddie Mac from those investors to cover a lot of the losses out there. It just wasn't a sustainable program, and it still isn't, and especially with the damage that Trump's done to it because he couldn't get it repealed. So he said, well, we'll do this, and it'll just knock it off. It'll be a dead program. And so it's getting ready to collapse. So what will happen then? Premiums are soaring everywhere. And this was prior to Trump's action. Deductibles soaring. People are being forced out of the market. Now that it's not mandated that they have to purchase insurance, it will get even worse. A deteriorating risk pool. Many insurance companies prior to Trump throughout the years have been considering their involvement in the program. And the CEO, Mark Bertolini, he warned that this whole Obamacare death spiral, he said it's not getting better. It's only going to get worse. And who's feeling it? Us, the consumer. I'm getting off easy. I'm just feeling it because of the high deductible. I don't know if that's easy. I never go to the doctor now. There's issues. I got carpal tunnel right here. I'm in pain constantly. But I don't want to go because I know it's going to be straight up cash. When I go to the dentist, the doctor, I sit there and I ask them, are you in network? Is the person that's going to read my NCV in or out of network? I know the primary doctor doing the NCV is in network. How about the guy that's reading it? Will I have to pay for that? What's the CPT charge? What are you charging? What's your allowable? What's United Healthcare's fee on this? And these are questions you have to ask. I had someone the other day, they came in, they were still debating, doing a story on it about being overcharged with Venice Hospital, basically because they're a cash patient. And Venice Hospital is doing what everybody else does, every other hospital out there that is private, and they want to make money. And I impressed upon her, as I impressed upon everyone. You just don't go to the doctor. You go there, you ask what your fees are because your insurance isn't going to cover it all. What CPT, I'd ask them, what CPT are you billing? Which ones? And then I'd call my insurance company and say, what's the allowable on this? So I know what I'm going to be faced with. Hospital's a little different. It's kind of like me. I was surfing. Some idiot dropped in, cut me with his fin. I got dragged out of the water. My tendon was cut. Got infected because of this dirty ass water. I wasn't in the mood to sit there and ask, what's the cost? $8,000 later, it impacted me. But what was, in that situation, what are you going to do? Oh, that's $5,000? Could save my foot. Nah, let's pass. I need somebody that's cheaper. Can you get another doctor? Maybe a doctor from, I don't know, some third world country in here that might not charge as much. All right, everybody. This has been Frankie Abbruzzino with the Uncensored Report. Stay healthy.